It was like a pristine place, a pristine lake. You had everything in there that you really needed.
Pristine. It's not a word often used to describe Boat Harbor, a wastewater treatment facility for the Northern Pulp paper mill. It's surrounded by the Mi'kmaq community of Pictou Landing First Nation. They know the lagoon as Oseg, which means the other room in the Mi'kmaq language. There aren't many from this community that remember Oseg before it looked like this.
During the summer, you got your apple trees and your berries, and then you can go swimming. Then you got your clams and all these fish that was there.
It was mainly to pick the berries or go down with my grandmother. And she would take us around and teach us all these different types of medicines.
I remember the smell. I remember the smell of walking along the water and just feeling the water and the sand and some pebbles on your toes. I remember those feelings.
But I remember walking down there and it looked like paradise. You know, like everything was so green and the water was flowing. Oh, life was around everywhere. Yeah.
The Scott Paper Company built a multi-million-dollar pulp mill here in the 1960s. Crucial to its operation was a place to dump and treat its waste. Boat Harbor was selected by planners, but the federal government and the First Nation needed to give their approval.
The water was supposed to be clear.
The Mi'kmaq say that they were lied to. The chief and council at the time were shown similar treatment facilities and said they were assured that Boat Harbor would not become toxic. The Mi'kmaq eventually signed an agreement and received $60,000 in compensation for the loss of hunting and fishing grounds. But today, the elders say the community lost more than that.
People started moving, couldn't handle the smell. Our houses started to turn black. Things just didn't feel good at all.
Dad was a hunter and a trapper, and Dad would come back and say, the rabbits are no good no more. We can't eat the rabbits here. Or the deers are getting sores. You know, he seemed to be like beaten down, you know, saying, I don't know how I'm gonna provide for my family anymore.
When that pollution happened, it took away our role. When we stopped doing stuff with our parents outside with our moms, she wasn't there talking to us, teaching us stuff anymore.
It really did change everything.
Over the next few decades, the pulp mill became a vital contributor to the Nova Scotia economy. Thousands came to benefit from the jobs, products, and money it produced. Meanwhile, the chemical-laced pulp effluent slowly turned Boat Harbor into one of the most contaminated sites in the province's history.
There are toxins, dioxins, etc., in that.
Those who lived nearby questioned the impacts on the environment, the fisheries, and their own health.
Statistically significant higher rate of respiratory diseases in this community.
It's been over 50 years since the wastewater started flowing, but that's all coming to an end. The turning point came in 2014.
We got word that the pipeline had leaked. So Chief and Council decided they were going to go block the gate. So a bunch of us all went up and we blocked that gate.
We're not suggesting that we want the mill to shut down. We just are asking that they would relocate their treatment facility.
A year after that 2014 blockade, the Nova Scotia government passed a bill promising the First Nation that the treatment facility would close in January of 2020. The company's proposals to relocate the wastewater were ultimately rejected, so the mill is shutting down. The news was met with mixed emotions in Pictou Landing First Nation. They are celebrating the closure of the Boat Harbor treatment facility. They say it's a realization of their advocacy. It offers hope for the future of Oseg and their community when it's cleaned up. But at the same time, they're facing the reality of how the mill's closure will affect the lives of their neighbors.
It was kind of sad to me in a way, you know, for the ones that were off the reserve, you know, because it still means they're going to end up losing their jobs. And it's not exactly what, you know, that's not what we're aiming for. Our goal was to get our land back, get our resources back.
just like everything else, nothing lasts forever. No, they had a good life for 53 years. How many generations? How many people put their kids to school, and how many of them, had a good life?
I'm just so glad that place is going to shut down. It's just like a big weight lifted off me anyways.
We have a lot of supporters now, and that's a good thing. But we also have a lot of people that are totally against what we're wanting to have completed. It's affecting jobs. That's the biggest thing, which is not our purpose. It's not our goals. It's not to shut down the mill. It was just to really stop the dumping. Mi'kmaq people are hunters and gatherers, as well as fishermen. They live off the land, they live off the water. When you live in a community where all of that is surrounded by pollution, there's a major disconnect. It really affects your spirit, your own inner spirit. That knowledge isn't really shared with a lot of people. Just listening to stories of our elders and what they share, it's like you're grieving a loss because you never got to really experience what they did. Like for them, that was where their livelihood was. That was their playground. That's where they ate. Like that's how they survived. And now our generations, we never got to experience that connection to the water and to the area. It is so beautiful there. It's gorgeous. And I look forward to the day when it's actually cleaned up.